Welcome everyone to Male Fuzz TV. I am Peter, that is Tara. We talk about TV shows here. The year is 2022 and the name of the show is Babylon 5. This is going to be season 5, episode 14. It's called Meditations on the Abyss. So full spoilers for the episode as always. So this was a bit of a quieter episode with a lot of character beats for various characters. A lot for Linear, which is interesting because obviously he's not been around too much recently, which is brought up. We also got some stuff for Vir. Jakar's got a little bit here or there. And, you know, just some... The general bubbling tensions about these trade routes being disrupted and the speculation that Centauri may have something to do with it, and the choices of like including Londo or not including Londo in that process kind of maybe bubbling up to something. Maybe Londo's going to feel betrayed when he ultimately finds out what's going on. I hope not, but it feels like it might go that way. So, yeah, what were your thoughts on the episode?
You know, I think I just don't like the Rangers. I don't really like the Ranger stuff.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
I thought the opening was a bit silly, and then it focused mostly on Linear and his, like, I don't know, whatever trials that he has to go through for this new captain of this White Star, and I didn't really care for it. I don't know. I didn't really like this stuff. I like the other stuff, you know, the bigger picture,
characters,
political side of things.
Well, I think what's interesting about the Linear stuff is that Delenn puts him on this mission to patrol, near the Centauri border, right? That's the idea. Because the Centauri are the ones that are involved, she wants someone she can trust near there, and we have this like shadowy meeting between them at the start of the episode. But basically, they don't want anyone else to know why he's there, what he's doing. So even the captain of the ship kind of knows that Linear doesn't need to actually go through training again. Like, he's already done this. He's a full-fledged ranger as far as I know. So this is just him going through the motions of doing it again because he needs to keep up the appearance that he's not important. He's there by happenstance. He's not there for a specific mission. But yeah, it's him and like the other cadet who's there going through these like trials and tribulations and being tested by the White Star captain. Do you think your dislike of Marcus might oh sorry, Cole, it's been so long. Do you think your dislike of Cole might also extend partly to your dislike of the Rangers? Or do you think your dislike of Cole has infected your thoughts on the Rangers as a whole because he was like the main ranger we had for so long?
It could be. It could just be like I never really enjoyed the Ranger stuff or never bought into it, and feel like I had a problem with it from the beginning, and that, you know, on top of the Cole stuff, maybe that influenced my hatred of that character. Hate's a strong word.
It's a strong word.
My dislike of that character in particular.
Yeah,
I don't know. This stuff just comes off so silly. I mean, even in the beginning where like they have to meet up in this shadowy spot, but first they have to meet up in like a bar where Delenn gets hit on, and then she breaks his finger. It's like, oh, why are they trying to make them look so cool? Because it's not working.
You say it gets hit on. He basically says, "You're waking up next to me whether you like it or not." Like, he outright just threatens.
I know, it was so bad. It was so, I don't know. It wasn't written well.
Yeah. And then she snaps his finger and is like, "Well, that's one finger down. You got 9 left. Like, I can keep doing this all night."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate the Ranger stuff. It's definitely not any of my favorite part of the show. Like, it's kind of just fine. Like, I liked it as like a background thing where it's like, okay, they've built this army to fight the war because they have to have an army, right? You know, they have to have this entity in some way during the Shadow War. Do I actually like going into the ins and outs of what the Rangers are and like seeing their training and stuff? I mean, I think it may have more stakes if it was another character. I think the fact that it's Linear and he doesn't really feel like he needs to learn anything from this because he's already fully fledged in his beliefs and all that, and it's mostly about this other guy who has his reasons for being in the Rangers is a little skewed. He's doing it because he feels he needs to because 2 of his family members died and they were Rangers, rather than because he actually feels the need to do it and the passion for it. And
Whereas Lanier is in there because he wants to impress a married woman.
That's a very cynical read on Lanier's motivations.
Okay, why did he join the Rangers?
Well, I mean, partially to impress her, but you could also say that this was also his, like, why does a monk choose celibacy? It's because he was in love with a woman he can't have. So he's like, no, well, that's it. I'm just calling it quits. I'm just going to devote myself to a cause to take my mind off her. That's what Lanier's doing. Well, there's a whole thing, at the start when they're meeting in secret, and it's like, okay, you're not telling Sheridan because Sheridan will feel the need to protect Delenn. I did like that note, is that, like, he knows who Delenn is, and he knows it would be stupid to try and protect her, but he also is in love with her, and sometimes those two things, like, don't, meet properly.
Right, which is it Lanier that just repeats that same thing back to her?
I think so,
As in, like, I'm in love with you, but it got in the way of work.
Well, he doesn't say it out loud, but he kind of implies. He kind of just says, yes, I know the feeling. That was basically, it wasn't that exact line, but it was basically that.
Yeah, and then she, like, touches his face. What happened?
Yes, what happened? What's the scar? But I appreciated that sentiment, but yeah, there's kind of like there's kind of this, I don't know, weird feeling to, like, having to be a secret. Like, she kind of explains it in the scene, but I still never really quite felt like, this just feels weird that you have to do this behind Sheridan's back. I don't really know why he can't know that you're going off to send Lanier on a secret mission. Like, cause Sheridan's not a jealous guy. He's not going to be like, oh, you're meeting Delenn. Like, he's never going to ever think that. So I don't know. It felt a little bit. Maybe you're right. Maybe we're just trying to make it feel more cool. Maybe it'll feel more like reasonable as the story progresses and we see the consequences of this. Maybe we'll get more of a reason. Well, we'll see it in practice why it had to be in secret, as opposed to the explanation not feeling quite there. Maybe? No?
Maybe.
Okay, well, the actual Ranger stuff then is that Lanier and this other dude are, like, given little shuttles, and they are fighters, and they have to go and, like, patrol an area. But then the main ship jumps away, and it's like, oh, what happened? Why did they leave us here? We've only got an hour of oxygen. We're supposed to have, 12 hours or whatever the standard amount is, but, like, they lied to us, and there's only an hour left in each. And immediately I'm like, because this is before they reveal that they're doing tests, so I'm like, oh, this is just a test. Like, they're going to come back. Like, it was too. I mean, unless they were going to, like, give us, oh, the captain of the ship's actually evil or something. Like, no, like, this is just a test. And Lanier is like, immediately, oh, just, control your breathing. We can make this last 2 hours if we slow our heart rates, and, or basically go into yoga mode, be zen.
Yeah.
And we know Lanier does that. Lanier's a very zen individual, except when he's feeling jealous about Delenn, and then he's like, I don't know.
Or if he's given a drop of alcohol.
True, but but that's not what happened, because if it had happened, he'd went into a murderous rage. Mm-hmm. It would be locked up somewhere. Mm-hmm. Hulk Minbari smash if the alcohol gets involved. So yeah, so that was the first main thing, and the other guy kind of freaks out, and he didn't do very well. The captain kind of grills him out for it. So then they're given this, like, more traditional test where it's like an asteroid field, and there's, like, sensors to, like, destroy or whatever, but there's only 39, and they only, like, finish their test when they get 10. So someone, like, out of the 4 people doing the test, one of them has to fail because there's not enough for all 4 of them. And the guy starts freaking out, and he ends up doing something stupid during the test where he's effectively going on a bit of, like, a weird suicide run, and Lanier has to save him and do all these things, and he lies about it afterwards to protect the guy's reputation. But the captain clearly knows what this, what's wrong with this guy in terms of his assignment and, like, his placement here, because real
anxiety.
The job he gives him is to go and interview new recruits, and says, I want you to, like, look into them and tell if they're here for the right reasons. And it's kind of a twofold thing. On the one hand, it's like, that's him telling him, like, I know that you're not here for the right reason, so I'm putting you in a safe position where you don't have to necessarily, train like the rest of the Rangers to do all this other stuff. But also, in a weird way, maybe he'll recognize who is there for the right reason now, because he is someone who isn't. So he may be able to recognize that in them. So maybe he'll be good at that job. Plus,
he doesn't have to, like, feel that he's abandoning his duty because he's there to replace his 2 other brothers that were supposed to, I think he said his brothers were killed in the Shadow War.
So, it kind of fulfills everything. And then off the record at the end, he's like, yeah, I grilled you out, Lanier, but I actually listened to the call. So you did the right thing, basically. So
yes. As someone who's been through boot camp, I can say, yeah, everything is mic'd. There are no private conversations.
So you recommend not just stopping and just grilling and like complaining about your superiors, like those bastards, a bunch of cowards, a lot of them.
Yeah, I got called in once.
No, I think fundamentally this stuff, like, well, the point it's making is fine. Because we don't really necessarily care about this like side character who's introduced just for the purpose of the story, and because it doesn't really feel like Lanier needs to do this, I don't know if there's ever much stakes in the story. So even though the sentiment's okay and the idea that Lanier's like, he's doing the right thing, and he's still very good at what he does here for other people, and he's obviously very strong in his beliefs and all that, I don't know if it ever really felt like there was any real stakes to the story itself, because I think part of that's just because, as soon as like they were left on their own, I'm like, this feels like it's just a test. That just feels like it's, because we already know they're cadets, right? We already know that what their position is in the rankings, so it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't think they were going to leave them out there to die. I thought I was expecting a episode of them, going through the survival part of it, though. Like, that would be the remainder of the episode of those two. It's just that they're out in space trying to survive. Yeah.
I was surprised when the ship came back and there was this whole other section afterwards. Part of me thought that it was going to last the whole episode, and the main thing that was going to be, like, before it finished, they were going to see something. That they were going to see the Centauri doing something, they were going to see something that Lanier was actually there for. And maybe that would have been too quick, but, like, I was kind of expecting that, and then it's just like, oh no, the ship's back. Okay, there's another test, and we're going to do something else with it. So I was just kind of mild on this plot, but
yeah, I mean, I like the other stuff, the other plots a little bit more, but overall, I'm kind of mild on this episode.
Yeah, I like the Vir stuff. So Vir brings back some stuff for Londo, who's humming and hawing about whatever he's humming and hawing about, as he usually does, and it turns out there's a listening device that's been planted on one of the bags, and it's like, where did you get this? It was the Drazi. But there's a bit of fun though, because they're sort of like having a fake conversation for the sake of the bug, and because
Vir's not good at it.
because Vir said he got this stuff at a Drazi like place in the market, Londo starts insulting the Drazi as much as he can. So that all they're going to hear is him insulting them, saying, Drazi women hate being with Drazi men, so they always try and go and find men from other species, because it's preferable to like being with their own
Take
kind.
The ambassador's wife, for example.
Yes.
Well, also, you forgot to mention that Vir was bringing fresh produce because there's a Mick Barry's that has opened up on the station, and he can't keep himself away from those golden bones.
Yes, and Londo chews him out and says, you can't be eating fast food, not with your new position. And then we get the reveal later in the scene that Vir will be taking Londo's role as the ambassador for Babylon 5, which is neat.
Barry's.
Oh,
There's
sorry.
no way it's run by Minbari, right? Because they wouldn't have a fast food place.
They might. They're a very efficient race. It's so funny. Do you know what? They might have
nothing about what they do is fast. Everything has like 48 rituals.
Do you know what? They might have had like a bigger budget for the show if they just like on the main like deck of the Babylon 5, if they actually got a couple of like product placements and actually had a McDonald's just there the whole time. Kind of like how in Community season 3 or 4 they like added a Subway into the cafeteria, and it was like, oh, this is paying for the rest of the season. Then is this Subway that's just going to be in the background the whole time, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. So I got a chuckle out of that. That was fine. But the whole thing is that Vir goes back to the Drazi, and the Drazi says, you're not going to do anything, you're Vir, you're weak, go away. And Vir is like, I'm not taking this, and he goes back and gets a sword off Alondo's wall and then just starts smashing up his market stall, and obviously Zach has to step in, and Londo looks so proud. He's like, now you're ready, Vir, to be the ambassador for the
This is what it
Centauri.
takes.
Yeah, I don't know, I got a chuckle
Just
out of
a
it.
hint of insanity. That's what you need.
I got a chuckle out of that, but I also got a chuckle out of Zach also like joking about it later, where he's like, "Oh, Londo looks so proud like a father." I don't know.
Always love to see Zach.
Yeah. Well, it's always nice to have a sex scene, yeah. Actually, honestly, my other complaint I'd have of the episode, my other critique that I had, and it's the thing that I'm thinking of the most because it's what the episode ended on, is that I felt like it ended the same way that we've already had 2 episodes end with, oh, Garibaldi's been drinking. And I thought it would have been more poignant and more effective at this point if instead of like cutting to like Garibaldi's quarters where he's got the bottle and he's like ordering a pizza and being all drunk, I think it'd have been more effective to have the line from Sheridan was, oh, I invited Garibaldi but I don't know where he is. See if it just ended there, I think it would have been more effective at this point because we already know why he's going to be missing now because we've already done it a couple times at the end of an episode.
Well, we've seen him like passed out or taking a sip or like passed out when he's supposed to be somewhere. This is the first time I think we've seen him act drunk, like in a scene like this where he's just completely gone, you know, and he's just talking to himself and joking, and you know, I know Jerry Doyle actually had struggles with alcoholism, and I think it comes through in the performance because he does do a very good job acting drunk.
Like, yeah, he knows what to. What to do for it, I guess. Yeah. I think it's just like, you know, because we had the episode that ended with him first taking the drink, and then we had the episode with like Franklin going to talk to him, and like he couldn't get to him because he was passed out drunk again. I don't like. I felt like at the end of this episode, I'm like, okay, you've ended like multiple episodes now with like Garibaldi's drunk, and he's not with the rest of the group because of it. I just felt like just having the insinuation of it from the others and them wondering why he's not there would have just been more effective than like seeing it again, because we've cut to his quarters for this reveal like multiple times now. So
yeah, it's not like it's a whoa big surprise.
Yeah.
We know where this is going.
So it felt a bit repetitive to me to end the episode this way again. But you know, like the other stuff though, I appreciated the discussions about, you know, whether or not Londo, like, you know, it'd have been almost convenient to have his place bugged. But I actually really like Delenn said, I don't think there's a point because I don't think Londo knows still. Like, Londo's not involved in this.
No, and he's the prime minister, so like he should. So clearly this is coming from the royal side, is what they said.
Yeah, this coming from high up, which, you know, is dangerous, and they're concerned about it. I did like Londo coming in and, you know, because the Drazi ambassador's there, because he was there previously complaining, like, oh, we think the Centauri are behind us, and we think you might be protecting them. And he's like, well, we'll be patient for now because you've asked us, but, you know, like, we're going to have to find out something soon. Which the others later on at dinner deduce that they've got maybe a month. If they don't get proper evidence and actually find out like answers, they've got about a month before the alliance falls apart because everyone's not trusting each other, and especially the Centauri. So okay, we got a bit of a ticking time clock for, I presume, what the main plot is now for the season.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll see how it goes. They're fairly upbeat about it regardless, though. They're like, yeah, we've got a month. You know, like, we're Babylon 5. We won the Shadow War, so we'll be fine. Okay?
Maybe that confidence is a little misplaced. I mean, we did see that episode in the future where, you know, things go bad again.
It's quite a bit far in the distance, though, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, it's like a 500-year jump. Or no, it's like a 100-year jump where they're talking about Delenn and Sheridan. And Delenn's still alive. Yeah,
but it doesn't fall apart till either the 500 year or the 1,000 year. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of those where it actually falls apart. So, yeah, I think this stuff it's kind of fine. I didn't feel like it advanced much in this episode though either. Maybe that's another reason why this episode feels kind of mild, is that there's not really much of an advancement in any of this. Where we're kind of at the same place again, where okay, we know the Centauri are involved, but we don't think Londo's involved with it. And there's no progression on any of that. But the only new thing is that we know that now the Drazi at least are suspecting that there is something up there. That's the only real new element to it, I would say, by the end of the episode. And maybe that just doesn't feel like enough for it to be exciting to be moving forward, I guess. But hey, I did like Jakar getting his new eyeball. That was fun. We got a scene where they had like it was clearly a prosthetic head, but it was a good prosthetic head that was very well detailed. Where he's taking out the eye. I think it was
just like half of it was real, and then it had like a larger part on the other side. I think it still was his head.
I don't know. I thought the whole head was fake just for that one shot where he's taking out the eye and there's like a big socket behind it. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it cut to a profile shot.
It looked like the left side or whatever was a bit larger.
Yeah. But after that, it cut to a profile shot where it was obviously just the actor in the makeup again and talking.
Yeah.
People could tell us, was there a full fake head, or was it just a big prosthetic on his face to give it the room? I think it was a fake head because he was being very still whilst the eye was being taken out.
He's a good actor.
It wasn't fake. It was a good actor. That's not acting though. That's more like why Shatner was still for the transporter effect. Is because if I move, it will reveal the fake part. So I have to just be completely still to make sure it doesn't look fake. No.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. People get comments to tell us. I have no idea. But Franklin wants to sit on some of Jacquard's biblical sermons that he's giving now. I think again it was kind of hitting on this idea that like Jacquard's making this point about life and about not being, not missing in the like not missing things because you're focused too much on the one thing, or I can't remember the exact wording he was saying, but it kind of boiled down again to these followers, like they're determined to have it put into these like sort of like I don't know, metaphors, these fancier phrases that they can use as parables or whatever. And he kind of like he sort of concedes and says, okay, truth is the river and God is the mouth of the river, but he's just thinking of this on the spot because he didn't necessarily feel it needed to be put in such terms, but he's trying to like give them in a message that they can go with and understand, and baby steps basically.
Is this the same follower that had the book in the face?
It absolutely was. I recognize the actor. Yeah, they're doing a good job of making him irritating. You're just missing the point every single time. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of showing that like there's a bit of a sheep quality to to him specifically and how he's following Jacquard, and he's kind of misinterpreting things. But Jacquard's not just like telling him to get lost, because he actually wants him to learn the messages that he's trying to give him. So hopefully that he will be more enlightened by the time he's actually gotten through to him. But it's just, whether or not you believe he ever will is another question.
Yeah, but everyone else in the room also seems pretty satisfied by the river answer. So
they do, yes.
I think it's just a little bit of a frustration on the author of your new spiritual text is alive and able to communicate.
Yeah.
And you still can't quite get it right.
I think because again, not a lot of progression here, but I would say the one little thing that's changed is that Jacquard seems more comfortable giving it to them in their terms, because before his plot when the samurai one showed up was that he wasn't comfortable talking to his followers. He didn't like the popularity, and he still doesn't, but it seems like here he's getting more comfortable actually speaking to them, and he's able to pivot and sort of give it to them in a way that they're more comfortable hearing, but without like ruining his point, without ruining the message that he's trying to get across. So it feels like he's getting better. I think that's the kind of the point of this scene more than anything, is that he's actually getting better at actually being the public figure now.
When he's able to break through to that one character, that one Narn, is when we'll know he's actually ready.
Yes. Absolutely. That's what will finally cinch it.
That'll be the take the pebble from my hand moment.
Yes. I did like how like he was at a meeting with the others earlier, and he was like, I need to get going soon, Sheridan. I've got my eye appointment. I've got my new eye coming in. I'm like so excited. I'm going to have the same colour eyes.
Maybe that's what he needed. Now he can see clear.
It's funny though, because like I presume the actor has to wear contacts anyway, because like the eyes that he has as Jacquard aren't like his normal human eyes. But I wonder why they felt they had to fix it and make them match again, because I assumed it was just two contacts anyway, as far as like the makeup goes.
Yeah, because I think the actor has brown eyes, and the other contact was clearly blue. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a symbolic thing that he's the stars are aligning.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I have to admit, but yeah. So Like this was a pretty easy episode to watch. It flowed well enough, and it had like nice little character beats for lots of characters that I like. For Vir especially, Jakar had a couple of good moments. I liked a couple of moments with Londo. Londo usually makes me laugh. His pettiness with the Drazi was cracking me up. But yeah, that's I would say that not a lot of the plots felt like they advanced a whole lot. Like I liked them all too, but I definitely didn't feel like any of them advanced in a way that I felt wasn't that important. And then it ended with sort of an ending we've already kind of had multiple times now. So it does kind of feel like a mailed episode to me, where it's like, no, there's nothing too bad with it, but there's also nothing really that great or special about it either, because we've already made a lot of these points already.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kind of a middling episode, I would say, overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy enough to watch, but I guess I just don't like the Ranger stuff, so.
I'm not as harsh on that as you are, but yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we had no Lockley this episode, which is fine. We had Lanier back, so we had to, lose someone. I wonder how much Lita's going to factor into things going forward, because obviously, like a lot of the telepath plot's been. Yeah,
her plot seems to be done, so we'll see. I'm sure she'll play some sort of part.
Oh no, I'm sure, but whenever we see her again, though, you'd have to think that she's going to be a changed woman, because she went through this ordeal where she's got this new love of her life, and then he died tragically in this big showdown.
Yeah, she's probably just taking some time off.
Yeah, maybe she'll come in like a badass to save the day later on or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she's meditating on Minbar for a little while.
Nah, she's at McBarry's chowing down
something chocolatey.
The big. I'm trying to think of like Big Mac, but with a Minbari word. I can't think of it that sounds good.
The McSpoo.
The McSpoo. Oh, there's a Spoo reference in this. Vir calls the
Drazi
something Spoo related.
Some kind of Spoo.
Yeah.
Some kind of piece of Spoo.
There was some Spoo referencing going on in this episode, but yeah. So hey, not the greatest episode. Not bad, but certainly didn't knock my socks off in any way. So that's what it is. There you go. That's Babylon 5. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with the next episode. We're alternating with classic Twilight Zone. So look out for a Twilight Zone episode next week. But that is our thoughts on this episode. So let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications, and of course you can support all the content by doing that stuff for free, but you can also support us financially by hitting the super thanks button, or go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and supporting us on a regular basis to help keep all the content coming. But that is us, so thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Babylon 5. Just don't give away the home world.